Good evening, Gekophiles and Cinephiles across the globe. My name's Lo, representing the West Coast of California. Welcome to the Down the Rabbit Hole podcast, the official podcast of moviesmatrix.com. And our co-host tonight, as always, is our man Rye, representing New York. What's up, New York?
Yo, what's going on, Loretto? What is going on, guys? Thank you for joining our a little bit of a time-constrained episode right now. We figured we'd get an episode out right before the Halloween horror draft starts for night 2 tonight after our part 1 last night. We'll get a little bit more into that, but we also didn't really have too much news coming out this week. There's one big story I feel like we should talk about before we get on to the Halloween draft is the Hollywood Reporter confirmed, or was it someone else? But let's just go with the Hollywood Reporter confirmed that Doctor Strange will be making an appearance in the next Spider-Man film. A lot of people have been saying on Twitter that he's going to be a mentor role in this film. Just speculation and just going around the interweb. It's nothing confirmed yet. We don't know how long he's going to be in it. We don't know how many scenes. We don't know his role. But we do know Wanda really messed up in the WandaVision TV show. Loretta, what are your opinions on this news?
So again, anyone that was watching last week, our comments are blowing up. Thank you for watching. If you haven't yet, if you're new to the show, please subscribe down below, hit that like button. But I just want to say, a lot of people were giving me some flack like, oh, do we have any confirmation that there is a Spider-Verse coming? Now we do. Are you kidding me? Doctor Strange is coming out with the Multiverse of Madness, and he's appearing in Spider-Man 3. Jamie Foxx is reprising his role as Electro. Like, the foundation's there. It's blatantly obvious that I think we're heading in this direction. Otherwise, Marvel and Sony are throwing us for a loop, and it would be the most tragic, gotcha of all time. Like, they would pull the rug out from under us if they didn't do it at this point. I just feel like all signs are pointing in this direction. And I didn't mean to jump the gun last week, but that's why I was so excited, especially as a Spider-Man fan. He is my favorite Marvel superhero. He's my favorite superhero in general. I'm excited. I think Doctor Strange's appearance confirms that we are opening the door to a Spider-Verse. Quote me on it.
No, I totally agree with you, Loretto. We've got Jamie Foxx coming back as the Electro. We're going to assume from the Amazing Spider-Man films. We've got Doctor Strange coming into the film. This is just a bunch of news none of us expected. Based off of what happened at the end of Far From Home, nothing really seems to connect right now based off conspiracies. But right now, let's go over to the comments. We got Gigi saying, "What's up, fellas? What is going on, you guys? You guys should be representing right now, getting prepared for the Halloween movie draft in about 45 minutes." Deep says, "My hangover was real this morning." I bet it was, man. We were talking about that before we went live about you crazy mother.
Hey, he hung in there. He didn't black out, but he did slur a little bit. I felt it.
Him and Amanda were right there. And then Uncle Ben, Iron Man, Happy Hogan, now Strange. Spidey is over-mentored, in my opinion, hoping Holland has the spotlight. I'm really glad I just went to that comment because that was my biggest thing is in the comments, he's always been a loner. And that's been kind of the common complaint with the MCU Spider-Man is he's relied on like Tony Stark, even after Tony has died, to help him move forward. And I felt like at the end of Far From Home going into this one, this was the perfect opportunity for him to become his own person without Tony, without the Avengers, but making his own. But you know what? We also don't know enough yet to know that he will be the mentor to Peter. He might do mentor things, but I don't think he will be a mentor like Uncle Ben or Tony Stark, where they're giving him resources to help get him there. And honestly, this news is insane, but I really don't want to keep speculating. Do you have anything else about this, Loretto?
Two things. I think the way we're gonna tie Strange in is he might be chasing Jamie Foxx. Like, oh crap, I let him slip. Sorry, he's not from this world. I think that'd be interesting. And also the mentor thing. From what I understand, it's not confirmed, right? That's just all hearsay.
What?
The mentor thing?
Oh yeah, that's just going around. It's not an actual confirmation.
I say false. I think this is the film that establishes Peter Parker on his own. He'll be on the run. He'll have no help. I think that might have been overblown. I don't know who spread the rumor. I don't believe it. I'll wait until I'll hold my judgment until it comes out. But I will say I'm kind of going off of Dibes here. He likes his Spider-Man stories more personal. I get that, but I also feel like how deep Peter is in already. I mean, he was in Endgame, he was in Infinity War,
Civil War.
And technically, I just feel like this is the third film of his trilogy. I think it's got to be big. It's got to be big. And if we're going to tone it down later, maybe we do a Miles story. Maybe we do, something else. But I just feel like for this third film, after Mysterio and Vulture, like, which were relatively smaller stories, I think 3's got to be big, Dibes. That's just me.
I think 3 is going to go big or go home at this point, with Electro, with Doctor Strange, with the ending of Far From Home, with his identity being outed, because his identity was the only one hidden in the MCU at this point. And I feel like, dude, this just keeps getting me more and more excited for WandaVision. I feel like there's going to be something that sets off the events for Multiverse of Madness, which includes Wanda herself. And then what happens in Multiverse of Madness might lead into the next Spider-Man film. Because as of right now, we know the MCU did a whole phase shift again with the release dates till next May that the Black Widow film is going to come out. Spider-Man still didn't move. Spider-Man is still in that December spot for 2021. Do you remember when Doctor Strange's 2022, I believe, right?
Yeah, that's the official. Well, everything got pushed back except for Spider-Man 3.
So I don't know how the continuity is really going to work there. I'm sure they're probably going to push it back at the rate we're going. But do you have any final thoughts before we move on to the Halloween draft?
Yes, final thoughts. I swear, I have a lot to talk about this. I'm so excited. Final thoughts. I just feel like the way that Multiverse of Madness may go, like, what if at the very end, Doctor Strange just loses control? He looks at the camera and he's like, oh God. And like the multiverses are spilling into each other. Yeah. And not only do we like get all these other Spider-Man and whatever their villains, what if that's how we open the door to the X-Men coming in? Like, oh no, these mutants are coming in. We've never seen them before, but we're coming in. They're coming in from another dimension. I think that might be an interesting take. I'm also very interested in the idea of, like, I don't know how familiar you are with X-Men, but with WandaVision, I just always thought, what's his name? Oh God. You know what? We'll save that for another discussion, but we had a very fun time last night.
No, dude, I had an absolute blast last night. I always look forward to doing the drafts. And without a doubt, the Halloween one is the biggest one we've had so far. We're combining two teams, Movies Matrix and Geekly Goods. If you guys didn't check out the draft last night, we've got last night draft night 1. And then tonight, literally right after this live stream, we are going live. Me and Lo will not be on this one. It's a completely different new crew for this, but we will have another post show. We will have a third post show with every single list that we have. A few of us will go over what we think about them. It will be a blast, but I gotta say, Lo, there's so many great horror movies, and the way we did this one is before we started it, we separated Group A, Group B. Group A got Saturday night, or Saturday night got Group A, and Sunday night got Group B, and we put films in those that only our group could take and not the other group, unless those movies weren't taken the first night. Group B could take those movies. So that's how it worked. There's a few movies that we were allowed to pick way before they were, and vice versa. I definitely think it added a nice little twist that I don't think many people really did know about, but I felt like it was a nice twist that gave us a little bit of a type of erotica, in my opinion, and really get everyone on the same playing field, I'd want to say, because I think we got 20 people in this, right? 10 on each night. And yeah, honestly, if we didn't do that, all the really, really classic and good films probably would have been taken, and the people on Sunday night might have gotten a little screwed over, but this really helps level the playing field for us. But what are your opinions on how it went last night, Loretto?
All right, so full disclosure. I mean, Dives introduced me into the podcast game. He's my partner in crime, brother from another. But I felt like it wasn't fully evenly distributed. I think Colin
Yeah.
B's got some bangers, especially in terms of like having both Halloweens 2018 and 1978 on one side. Halloween is my favorite horror film. So not only did I not get my favorite horror film, I didn't get the opportunity to get the one that was almost like in that same tier of greatness. That hurt my heart. Also, my boy Freddy Krueger, he Nightmare on Elm Street was on column B. That also hurt me. It was part of the reason why I took Dream Warriors, even though it wasn't on any column. I just love Freddy Krueger. I think the idea of someone attacking you in your dreams is truly terrifying. And I needed a piece of that franchise. I was going back and forth between New Nightmare and Dream Warriors. But, I mean, for anyone that hasn't seen it, Dream Warriors is a fun movie, man. It's got that right amount of some comedy, right amount of like wacky, like crazy dream sequences, but it's also a little bit scary. The very first dream sequence with the puppetry is terrifying. So I think anyone that hasn't seen it, please check it out. The movies off the list will be bad for people in column B. Hey, shoot up Dive comment there.
You're forgetting a big thing. The movies off the list will be bad for people in column B. I don't understand that.
Oh, okay. So they'll be picking from scraps at the end of their draft.
But I feel like there's a lot of good horror movies that me personally, doing all these drafts, it's a mix of personal preference and Twitter preference, because you got to figure out what you like on top of what Twitter likes. And we see that because I know Sean did a lot of old classic films, which are good personal preference, but I don't know how well that's going to go over with the Twitter fam and vice versa. Like me personally, I felt like I got a good mix. I got the original Scream. I got a 2004 Dawn of the Dead. I remember Train to Busan, Zombieland, more recent films. I'm trying to remember what my second pick, Cabin in the Woods, I feel like is a really strong pick for me.
A lot of people like that.
Dude, I know a lot of people love that film. And for me personally, I know a lot of people say Get Out reinvented the horror genre. And I'll agree with that to a certain aspect on political field in movies, but I feel like The Cabin in the Woods was the start for the new 2010 forward horror movie genre. I felt like it did a lot of things right while poking fun at old tropes that even movies till 2020 still do, like The Final Girl, The Virgin Always Lives, and stuff like that. So I felt like it was also really funny for a horror movie, and I will always remember the first time the zombie family appeared coming out of the swamp was truly terrifying for me. I was like 12 or 13 when that movie came out and I saw it in the theater. I'm like, well, goddamn, that was super frightening. And I absolutely love the film. And I'm also a huge Chris Hemsworth supporter, but yeah, Lo, talk about your list and your picks.
Yeah, so I actually love my list, honestly. I really wanted Psycho or Texas Chainsaw, but I had the 9th pick, so the first 8, I wasn't sure what would fall, but nothing did. I wouldn't have minded Scream either, but I mean that was a no-brainer. Like there was no way that got out of the top 3. So I took The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing, and honestly, being Halloween's my favorite horror film, so that was like the next best thing for me. And John Carpenter is a legend. I mean, you just look at the list, like The Fog, and he's just a mastermind. I love The Thing. The practical effects in it are incredible, and that scene where they're like inspecting the guy and his stomach opens up, and that's the first. Yeah, it chomps on the hand, and it's the first time you see the creature, like what it really is. Horrifying. And also that idea that it could be your friend and you don't know it. It's a little bit of a play on the Body Snatcher theme, but I also took Evil Dead 2, which admittedly isn't as scary as the first one. I actually think the Evil Dead is really scary. It got under my skin, but the second one was more of like a horror comedy. But at the same time, Bruce Campbell as Ash is a legendary, iconic character. It's so much fun. Hail to the King, baby, as I was saying last night. And What else? I had Insidious, which I think in terms of movie horror, I would say Get Out's my favorite modern horror, but Insidious really switched things up in 2010 because we were coming off of that wave of Japanese horror remakes like The Ring and The Grudge and what was that cell phone one? One Missed Call or something like that.
Oh
And
yeah,
like between 2000 and like 2007, 2008, we didn't
it was
really
a
get
weird.
a lot of
It was a
lot of
very
high
goth
quality
horror period.
yeah, like straight horror films were kind of up and down. It was kind of a down time for horror, and Insidious came out and just opened things back up. It was fresh, it was original. Hats off to James Wan. Good God, the red guy, tiptoe,
Yeah.
the window.
Dude,
That song, man. If I heard that in a
Yeah.
dark room, I'm out. I'm running in the other direction. I want no part of the red guy. Also, the guy that chokes him out at the end.
Yeah.
Or actually, wait, it looks like the nun, but it's a guy, right? It's like
It's a guy
same
because
character.
like
Crazy as hell.
personally, I'm not the biggest fan of Insidious. I actually just watched it recently for the first time like a few weeks ago. And I was expecting something like really scary because that's all I heard was this movie was scary, scary, scary. The only thing I knew about this film was that iconic jump scare with the red demon figure right behind Patrick Wilson. And I was really just waiting to see what this movie offered. And personally, I did not find it very scary. Rose Byrne has always been a hit or miss for me. Patrick Wilson, you just can never go wrong with, personally. Lee Winnell's fantastic as per usual. But I didn't even find the movie creepy until that tiptoe through the window. That was the only thing that truly gave me chills because that song I can't even talk about. But you know what? I'm really shocked that no one picked. It wasn't personally one of my favorites of Jordan Peele's, but Us. I definitely thought someone would choose Us and Get Out.
It was in column B.
Choose Get Out, but honestly, I was shocked that no one chose Us, and I definitely think that's going to be a contender for the second draft tonight.
It was in column B, that's why.
Oh, was it real? Yikes.
Yeah.
Okay, I did not know that, so that's definitely going tonight.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I think it's going top 10. But especially in terms of popularity. But real quick, just so I round out my list here, I just want to speak to my last two picks because like that's where everybody feels like I fell off the horse, but that came from my heart, and I'm just telling you, I have a pretty good relationship with horror Twitter, horror family, horror community. There's a lot of them, and they're awesome people. There's a lot of love for not only Dream Warriors but Planet Terror as well. Robert Rodriguez and the Dream Warrior film gets a lot of love. So again, if you haven't seen it, I really recommend it. Actually, honestly, I recommend checking out the entire Grindhouse double feature. It was Robert Rodriguez who directed Planet Terror and Quentin Tarantino who directed Death Proof. It combined together as a sleazy B-movie spectacular. The film is grainy. It looks old. There's fake trailers by Rob Zombie and Eli Roth, and it's just so much fun. So anyone that hasn't seen Planet Terror or Death Proof, I highly recommend it. It's definitely not on the popular list like some of you guys are saying, but I think horror Twitter might have my back on that one. So
I'll definitely admit you were the one that most shocked me when it came to out of their picks. I was not thinking Planet Terror for like miles ahead. It's not a bad movie, but it's a unique movie. You know what I mean? I feel like it's like Alita Battle Angel. It's got that fan base. You just need to grab them. I can definitely see it being a cult classic for a lot of people. It's definitely a very art house film. I just like you, Death Proof is a really good movie. I really love Death Proof, but I feel like also not a lot of people know about it along with Planet Terror. But I'm really curious to see who are you going up against, by the way?
I'm going against Michael Cammett.
Yeah, okay. So that's going to be an interesting first round. But like I said, I can't even imagine beginning. Dude, I'm telling you, both Halloween films are going to be gone by the fifth person first round.
That's definitely. I think it's probably going to go either Halloween or Shining one overall. Whoever doesn't take Shining or Halloween will take Halloween or Shining the second overall. Yeah. And I don't see Halloween 2018 or Us escaping the top 10. It wouldn't make sense. So
I definitely think that the tier B list, a lot of them are they're probably just going to go wash house. All of them will be gone. And then I feel like once all those are gone, that's when the scraps start coming in from the list we left over and so forth.
you know what's exciting for me too is like we got a lot of friends on that other draft, Leo and Gabe, Film and Peanutitis. I'm excited to see them go off the off column here, like off the record. I'm kind of
They
curious.
kind of have to, dude, because they're the last two picks.
Yeah, and between them two, I know they got a deep film background. I'm not sure about the rest of the draft, but I want to see these guys dig deep. I'm curious what they take. So
I definitely think, not to say this, and I don't mean this in like a negative light, I definitely think tonight will be a little bit more interesting just because of the constraint that they're under. They have a lot less picks than we did. We were kind of free range. We had the option of not picking 15 to 20 films, but other than that, everything was ours. And now there was some really good movies on our list that they can't get at the same time. And with your pick on Planet Terror, man, I'm really curious to see what out of their picks they're going to choose.
I'll tell you this much. That was like one of three that I won't list now because it's going to help them. But that was like one of three off the record where I was just kind of shooting from the hip, going with what I love. And Planet Terror came out on top. But I had two other films I was mulling over in my brain with my mother wig on. So
no, honestly, Lo, that's exactly what I did too. I really wanted The Lighthouse and The Fly and The Evil Dead, the 2013 remake. I absolutely love. I will stand by, dude. That one is the best out of the four. Dude, you saw me flip out when whoever took that.
What killed me was literally those two films, The Fly and The Evil Dead remake. Though both of those times you were like, fuck.
Dude, I remember The Fly was taken as soon as I came back from like a technical issue, and then I just left, and then I come back, and then someone takes The Evil Dead, then I just left right again.
When Sonny took The Evil Dead, you did the same thing. You're like, fuck, and you like walked off.
But you know what? I'm kind of glad that also happened because the zombies is my true passion when it comes to horror films. I find running zombies like Dawn of the Dead 2004 Zack Snyder, hands down scariest zombies out there, dude. When they run, they're relentless. That whole third act when they finally leave the mall and they're driving to the boat, absolutely terrifying when they're holding off the bus. And even some of them aren't competent enough and accidentally kill one another, I think is awesome. I felt like Train to Busan definitely needed that. I was really shocked that it went far down as it did, but I'm glad it did. And I wanted to get that Zombieland horror comedy in there because I'll admit the second one wasn't as good as the first one. It was a bit of a redo 10 years later, but Zombieland, I gotta say, I'm saying it, instant classic, bro. Instant classic.
I gotta admit, between Zombieland and Shaun of the Dead, I'll admit I was not prepared jumping into this because I would have made a full list of things that weren't on the columns, and those would have been way up there for me. I probably would have taken Shaun of the Dead second overall if it was on my radar, but it just wasn't. I was staring at our column and I was going off the fly and I was drinking and admittedly, I'm kicking myself for not taking that. I didn't even realize it wasn't even on the list. But hats off to Zach Goller, YouTuber. He came on with us last night. That guy was awesome. He had a really good team. He took Shaun of the Dead. Or no, that was Dibes, right?
Nah, yeah, it was Dibes.
He had a really good team. So hats off to the Zach. And it's almost time, man. So I think without further ado, is there anything else we got?
No, man, I just want to say I had a blast last night. I can't wait to talk over our picks and tonight's picks I'm hoping a little bit of a mix of groups so we get more in detail on how people were feeling on their picks tonight rather than just having everyone from like one night come back again.
Oh, real quick. Squeal like a pig. You and me both got that wrong. I was like 5 words, man, and then I don't know.
Dude, I was doing it as a joke. I was just fucking with everyone. I knew it wasn't. Dude, they were getting really into it. Like every time I
was
counted
like,
them, I was counting the syllables, and no one realized till after the draft. And I'm just
no, I'm not gonna lie, I was out of it, and I couldn't count
I was
for shit.
counting syllables.
I don't know. I couldn't count for shit, and I was like, "Hey, Ryan's right." In my mouth.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, wow, he's agreeing with me. And bro, you just added to my joke even more. I'm like, yep. See, even Loretto agrees with me, man.
I was
They were
so
going off
embarrassed.
about it after. They're like, why was Ryan counting syllables instead of the words? Bro, I didn't even reply to those messages because I let them wanted to figure it out. But dude, it was all good fun. I had a blast last night. I can't wait to do another one.
Hey,
And
again,
personally-
thank you to the entire Movies Matrix team. Shouts out to Amanda and Sonny and Michael and Zach and Dibes and
Joe,
Joe.
everybody just did a fantastic job. Especially, we always like hit a little bump in the road with someone not showing last minute, and it all kind of just came together. It was awesome. I really appreciate it. And
wait, don't forget our editor in chief, otherwise we'll get fired.
Sean,
right on.
I know you said Sean, didn't you?
No, I didn't. But
right
on
you say Sean then.
He's the man, and he had honestly my favorite team, honestly.
But without further ado, guys, we don't want to keep going. We want to let people breathe a little bit before the draft starts because it's going to be a lengthy draft. If they bullshit as much as we did, it's going to be a good 2 to 3 hour draft. With the
and Joe popped in the comments.
Yep. Oh, you want me to look at the comments?
Real quick.
Yeah.
Have some faith, brother.
Yo, honestly, Joe, you would be shocked at what happens. Like we both said, when we do our scores at the end, it's just our personal preference. I think Deebs did it the best. He did it off of appearance, like on Twitter, and then his own personal preference. Because at the end of the day, a lot of these would be different numbers.
Also, when Manda won, she got buried in the post show.
Oh, dude, I know. I just hope she doesn't win again. Whoever, I think Joe's going against her the first round.
Ooh, that's rough.
And then I'm going against her if she wins. So you guys know what to do if it comes to that. We can't let Mando win again. And we can't let Deebs win again. Those are the two no buenos right here. Without further ado, guys, thank you for coming on for a more shorter show today. We kind of wanted to round everything out to fill the gap in between each night. But you know what? Have a great night, guys, and stick around for the post show after the draft where everyone gets a little bit more in detail about their picks and grades. And yes, see you next week. Peace.
Good luck, Geekly Goods. Have fun, guys.